Hey guys, it's Alex here, and I have with me Jacob and Jarrett,
Oh,
What's
hello.
up?
the
What's
two
up?
J's of the writing world, as I think of you guys.
Of the world, the only Jays in the world
The
of writing.
only J's in the world, other than like Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. That's
Sure,
about
I'm sure he writes.
it. He writes all the things.
Yeah.
Um, we're here to talk about The Walking Dead season 2, episode 1, in a very spoiler capacity. So if you have not played it, or you have and you just don't want to hear people talk about it, then stop listening now. All right, go. Clementine dies. Spoilers. What?
Spoilers. Clementine's totally dead.
So what?
Yeah.
What's the general feels on The Walking Dead from you guys? I'll go with Jacob
Nope.
first because Jerry, your review's out there. So
All right. I liked it. I think I liked it more than Jarrett. I think I might even have liked it a little more than Alex, but it was good. I liked playing as Clementine a lot more than I thought I would going in,
agreed.
and it definitely did a really good job of making me feel weak and isolated. Kind of. It's definitely a lot different than playing as Lee, I thought.
Yeah, it's a very different feeling. I feel like they captured that probably the best. Um,
Yeah.
and like there's one scene like something that thinking about it retrospectively now, like where you're looking at a bunch of people arguing over what they're going to do with you, and you feel small and weak, and you're looking at a bunch of bigger adults that are just talking about you like you weren't there, and it does give you that kind of childlike feeling, like you're being talked down to. Um, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was, in my opinion, it was good. Nowhere near great though. It definitely it had a lot of problems with me that I'm sure we'll get into very specifically. Like mostly the dog was a
Yeah.
problem, and it's not a problem because like oh that sucked and it upset me emotionally, but it was a problem for other reasons that we'll get into in a little bit. But uh, it it felt very safe to me. Like I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Telltale is not afraid to pull punches and be gruesome anymore." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's just like it didn't feel like they were taking any risk with this. It feels like exactly what everyone expected it to be. If you were going to play as Clementine." And I don't know. It felt weak, especially in comparison to like The Wolf Among Us, which like had a fantastic start. Um, but yeah, that's pretty general feels. Good, not great. Now, Jerry, you had a lot of problems with it.
I did, and I think my problems with it were problems that a lot of people had, but they were giving better passes on.
Yeah,
Because I think when I talk to people about this game, and I talk to people about the others, which I liked the first season. When it all said and done, I did in the first season. But we all have the same problems. I'm just bothered by it more, I think. Because I played other games and some of the stuff that they're really messing up is stuff that's really made really easy in games that are far more intense, if you will. Not that a point and click adventure can't be intense. Like you said, there are moments, especially in the in playing Clementine, that they create this real narrative that you do feel like a child sometimes.
yeah,
All the adults are talking about adult shit and they're pretending that you don't know about it because you're a kid, even though you've been doing the same things throughout the first game. But they treat you like a child. They leave you out of the conversations. They talk over you. They step in front of you. They boss you around, and you feel like you're being disrespected. You feel like she feels like kind of hopeless and helpless, and that's very effective. But some of the same on the same topic, like there's lots of narrative decisions that are just not very good to me.
yeah,
And there are plenty of reasons why I feel they're not great, and we can get into that later. But there's also very big technical issues that are integral to telling the story the way they're choosing to tell it, and they're messing up on it,
hmm
and that's a big problem to me. There's no
yeah,
reason why a frame should skip and then I miss a complete piece of the this video that's happening, because there's really no other way I can see the story without watching it, and they're making watching it hard. and that's like the biggest problem I have.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the Walking Dead TV show.
I don't think
I am not.
anyone is like a huge fan.
No.
No,
I
but
think
I
everyone
feel
just
like
kinda watches it.
this is falling into the same tropes the TV show is falling into. Like doing stuff because people like to watch stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, we're in the woods. Oh no, I understand it's about this person. Oh no, there's people. What am I gonna do? Oh shit, a zombie.
Yeah.
Where'd the zombie come from? Don't worry about where the zombie came from. Now it's here. Now it's a problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this way.
I agree. Like the technical thing is like a huge problem. Like I played through it on PC. I had minor issues, nothing too big. And it's funny. Playing through The Walking Dead, the first season, I played through it. Then I watched my roommate play through all of it. And there's a scene, the scene where you're sitting outside the train in episode 3. And Duck is he's sick, and throughout that whole scene when my roommate was playing, not when I was, Duck is like his model is invisible, so Cat I don't know why I said Katja, the Hunger Games, she's like holding like an invisible child and cradling him, and, like you hand them the animal crackers and they just disappear. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And yeah, like those kind of technical issues are still pervasive through this. Like in most of the versions of the game, like there's still stuff that's wrong with the PC version as well. Some weird where it'll flash, like a character model will flash to a neutral position, and then flash back to whatever active position they were in. That's so freaky, and that takes you out of the experience so much.
I must be lucky because I haven't had anything that bad happen to me. I mean, I've had it get choppy in places, but did you play? You played it on the PS3, right, Jared?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. See, I didn't have that many problems with season 1 or the first episode. I mean, aside from just the regular slowing down of the frames every once in a while, I didn't have anything major happen like Invisible Duck.
Invisible Duck is pretty special, though.
I've had some weird happenings in the PS3, and I've played through it twice, and not the same things in the same places. Like sometimes the first hunter group you find when you're at the campsite by yourself looking for food, when they show up, sometimes you hear the voice and don't see the first dude just running out.
Yeah,
and that's
I heard a lot
like
of that.
jarring. If I hadn't known that was happening, I'd have no idea what was going on. Or I assumed that she's hearing a voice that she can't see, but that's not the case. She's staring at someone.
Yeah.
But that's like turning the page in a book, and it's a picture book, but there's no picture on this one. It's just kind of words and a blank page.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess we'll go into like it specifically. I thought the beginning part was pretty great. It was exactly what it needed to be, I think. It was annoying in that it's just like, let's cast off all of the shackles that we had from season 1. And it's like, let's completely eliminate season 1 from the equation, really. Like any kind of memories that or anything that related to it, like physically. And I mean, they did it well, I think, but it was still like a little jarring. It's like, all right, Omid's dead. There you go. That's like no questions. It just happens. It happens really quickly, and then for a stupid reason, and then jump, and then you're older, and that's why you're older, and thus you as the adult, most likely adult player, can relate to her more. And then Chris is gone, and that's it. And she never had the baby, or the baby died, or something horrible happened, and it's just like. It's all these things happened, and there was like a lot of build up for some of those things in season 1, and they were just gone so quickly. And they could revisit them, yeah, but I don't think they will.
I think the issue with the beginning is just how you describe the beginning. Like, you could take it as the narrative steps that they were giving you, like, oh, she's in the bathroom, going to clean up, now someone comes in, and now she's under attack. And in order to protect her, an old friend comes in to help her and dies trying. Yeah. But the truth is, anyone who's played the first and feels a certain way about the first enough to think deeper will see this as the exercise. It's not the story. It's watch Telltale remove season 1
Yeah.
and show
Yeah.
you her own lady.
Yeah,
And
it felt more like that than a lot of the little dumb things that they would do in season 1 that you didn't really have a choice in, but they hit it better, I think.
I think they hit it better. I just feel like when I was watching it, I didn't watch these two characters I remember, go through this struggle that they're now having because the one's partner's dead and the other one has to now deal with this baby and another child by herself. It's more like I'm watching them remove this character because he's from season 1 and is the big male protector, so now it's just 2 women alone, and then watch me remove the other adults, now it's just a toddler alone. Like, it's more of an Excel sheet than it is a story.
Yeah.
In the first section, and I appreciate it because it's supposed to be that way, but I was hoping for it to be maybe more paced. Maybe that would be the entire first episode, because then you can get really into like the nuance of the relationship, but they never really did that.
Yeah, that's what I expected it to be as well. Like, I was like, oh, the first episode, what I thought the first episode would be happened in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like a little jarring. What do you think of it, Jacob?
I agree. I kind of wanted to. I was curious. I don't know why. It's just I'm a sucker for like the baby factor in the apocalypse. I wanted to see how that went about. But now I feel like if the baby is alive, which I think would be stupid, it'd be kind of a cop out to just be like, oh yeah, the baby, we just kind of hid her somewhere and now she's back and we got a story to tell with her. But I liked Omid, so that was rough. I would have at least preferred seeing him a little more. A little bit longer than 10 minutes into first episode before he gets... I didn't really feel like after all that time, you've got a gun pointed to her, that he would just kind of stand there and wait. If he's got he just stands there and watches until the door closes, It just seemed weird on like a fucking Omid.
It felt like realistically I would have done something as Clementine in that situation, and you never get that choice. But they it's not terrible. I think like it was appropriate, and I think it was necessary in a lot of ways, because like The Walking Dead has garnered a lot of attention, for good reason, and now a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to sit through 14 hours of season 1. I'll just jump into season 2, and this makes that not impossible. But still, it sucks for a lot of people that they're kind of just thrown into it and they lose everything that they'd already been attached to, except for Clementine. But like after that, it gets like into the main problem that I have with this episode, and that's why I think like the first half is a little bit stronger than the second, because then you get to the campsite and then the dog incident happens.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that dog, by the way.
Fuck that dog, yeah. No kidding.
Fuck that dog. I mean, like, it was totally... This was a realistic thing, and it's, like, totally something I could see happening. But it happened so perfectly, I feel like. It's like, oh, she got bit. Now she has a bite that's not infected, but she has a bite, and people are obviously going to think it's a walker bite. And it felt like such a contrived plot device.
Yeah.
Like, it was completely atrocious to me, that it's like, we're going to set up Clementine meeting people with this stupid little thing, like, and they pulled like a classic move of, let's give you this really cute animal and let's have you play frisbee with it if you want, and have you have this moment with it, and sometimes if you check the collar you'll know its name and you're calling it by its name, and there's like that attachment building, and then they just throw it all away, which, I mean, again, it's fine, but it felt like a plot device. It felt like something that they had scripted so that they could get into the next scene where someone finds her, she has a bite, and it will lead into interesting gameplay. And that's something that The Walking Dead hasn't done before, and it's something that I think is really just poor. It was a poor decision all around.
I felt like season 1 they did such a much better job, like thinking of more creative things that they would run into and problems, that this one it felt a lot weaker. Even when the killing of the dog, like the tough decisions, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like that one felt like a really, really weak choice
Yeah.
to make.
And it really bothered me. It was like it didn't bother me that I had to kill a dog. Like I don't care. I understand. Like that's the main purpose of that was to make me feel bad, and it just feels dirty. Like it didn't sit well with me. It felt like they did this to pull at your heartstrings in like this is we still got it. We can still make you upset way, and I feel like
Yeah, we can still kill things with love.
Yeah, we can still kill things with love. And I feel like that was what people were saying was like, oh, it's, you know, they can still make you make uncomfortable decisions. I'm like, no, killing that dog was not an uncomfortable decision for me.
Yeah, like the dog, like when you open the food and the dog's like, "Fuck you." My decision was clear after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm
And
like this
there was
dog's gonna die.
there was no struggle. I've known this dog for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Like in this world that they've built up, like the world that we all sat through for season 1 and experienced, like I'm not gonna trust anything after 10 minutes, even a fucking dog.
Yeah.
And it was like it was funny. Like my roommate did not feed the dog, and like I think most people probably did. I did, just because you know it's a dog.
Yeah.
And it just like attacked him, and he got so upset. And, like, yeah, that happens anyway. Like,
And that sucks
shitty.
because
Yeah.
that's a shitty plot device when you wrap this thing where it's going to happen anyway, except in one way it makes sense and the other way it just doesn't. Like, why did you watch him not feed the dog? Like, it attack him when he doesn't feed it.
like it starts growling, and then she gives it this concerned look, and then it like just bites her, you know, and then it like knocks her back, and then it starts going at the can, and then it bites her. Like
That's
pretty
silly.
similarly. Like that was something that I felt like, oh, this was going to happen either way. Unlike in a lot of previous moments where I was like, this feels like I know in the back of my head that this is how it always is going to go, but it doesn't feel like that to me as a character right now. Like it just felt like they forced you into this shitty situation, and there was nothing you could do.
Right. You didn't feel like I had like a moment where it was like, I've made the wrong choice here, clearly, but I'm going to live with it. It was more like this is what was going to happen. I guess I'm going to kill this dog and just move on.
Yeah.
Or like you never wonder what happens if you would have did something differently. Because A, you can't do anything differently, but B, you're not worried about any other outcome because there really was only one outcome, and I feel like everybody who plays that part feels the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like the artificial decisions that they give you in season 1 are a lot better. Like, for example, like kill duck or don't kill duck, right? It's, you know, either way duck's gonna die. You know that going into it, but the baggage that you carry walking out of that is different depending on what you do. Like you could feel bad for making Kenny kill his son, or you could kill his son and have to carry that with you. And I feel like that's an interesting artificial choice to give the player because it's more emotional than it is like what's going to happen next. The same thing was going to happen either way, but it felt like you contributed to it in some way. You took away something from it. And it's just like those moments in The Walking Dead season 1 were the best, I think.
That character's death means something no matter the context of the death.
Yeah.
So no matter how he dies, his son's dying means something for the story. This dog dying means nothing, except for now you didn't get eaten by a dog.
Yeah, and like it's just as soon as
It might as well have been a random encounter in like Dragon Quest where you don't get killed by a slime. Cool.
where you killed the slime, and then you have to live with the
And
weight
then
of
you
killing the
leave.
slime.
Yeah, go back to the castle and think about what you did.
It has that feeling. It has like this like you're supposed to feel bad about this. Like if you don't feel bad, you're doing it wrong. It feels like it's kind of talking down to me. It really bothered me. It was like I knew exactly what the rest of the episode was going to be about. After that happened, like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna find people, or people are gonna find me, and they're gonna think I'm bit, and I'm gonna have to convince them that I'm not. And it was just, it felt way more predictable. Again, it felt safe. Like this is like an easy way for Clementine to prove herself to a group of survivors. Like, it bothered me. But moving on, like we met our group that I know you have problems with, Jarrett, and I kind of agree with you. But what do you think, Jacob?
They're all assholes. Like, aside from that Luke guy, they're all dicks.
I don't know about you guys, but I was getting a really rapey vibe from Luke. Like,
Really?
He was a
he's
little
the
bit
only-
like he's looking a little too hard. Like a
yeah,
little too
I'm
long.
like, he's gonna try and rape Clementine at some point. That's gonna be like a thing. I hope that doesn't happen.
Oh my god.
But that I was getting like that vibe the whole time.
I hope not, because he's the only character outside of Clementine that I like right now.
I just ruined everything for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he made me uncomfortable. Like, I feel like what's his Pete? Is that the shaved head guy?
Yeah. It's either uncle or dad or who is it?
It was Luke's dad.
I think it's like his uncle or something like that.
And the other guy's
I don't
uncle,
know.
right?
Yeah,
the-
the other
Right.
guy's uncle.
Yeah.
And I was getting like okay vibes from him. Like,
Yeah, but he
fine
was like the
vibes.
stereotypical, like, older man, kind of roll with the punches type of guy, and I was like,
Oh,
yeah, I've
totally.
seen too much of you.
Yeah, and that goes into your point, Jarrett.
Yeah. I was like, welcome to every fucking survivor party in any horror
Yeah.
survival like narrative ever. There's the giant bitch who hates me, but we'll grow to like each other eventually. There's the old man who's the wise leader who will probably die soon.
Yeah.
There's his son who's watched him make hard choices, but is trying to be the company man. There's the nice guy who's way too nice.
Yeah.
And they're all like conspicuously different races, so they can let you know that like even in the zombie
There's-
apocalypse we can all be
Yeah.
friends.
There's the foreign doctor with his daughter that's like
Oh, let's talk about the daughter
Who's like
for a
not
minute.
at
She
all
gave
and
me
like
the
a
worst
giant asshole.
vibes.
she gave some
She gave me
vibes.
the worst.
Yeah, she has a
vibes.
zombie in the closet somewhere that she's like
Mhm.
feeding or something.
Totally,
She's
like-
So
so
absolutely.
You know, she's like, this is great. We can all stay in this house together and
Oh.
cuddle around the fire every night. I'm like, you are the
Yeah,
wrong kind of
now
person.
you can never leave.
Yeah. I had
Exactly.
She's like the over-attached girlfriend, but like in
Yes.
a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had bad vibes from her, but when she made me pinky swear to be her friend, I was like, oh, this is going weird. This is getting bad. I'm not a fan of any of this.
And I'm looking at the options you have with Clementine, and you're just like, I'm not going to be your friend. I'm like, I want to say that. I feel like someone should, and I didn't, but I felt like I should. That was the
Jacob
hardest
did.
decision for me in the game.
I'm like, because I was one of, I bet you get the stuff anyways, but that would have been an interesting situation where, like, if you're like, I'm not going to be your friend, and she's like, well, I'm not going to fucking help you then. I'm going to keep all my gross stuff, all my stuff, and you're going to die.
I'm gonna keep all
from
my
your pet."
heads in these jars,
Yeah.
and you're not gonna know about it. No, it's I definitely got creepy vibes for it. I'm like I don't give a shit about you. I'll pinky swear I killed a dog earlier. I'll kill you if I have to. And that was
Fucking
like
crazy.
I'm crazy. I'll kill this pregnant woman. You should be nice to me. But no, I totally went into it with that mentality of like, I'm not committing to anything. Fucking promises were meant to be broken. Maybe that's just a reflection of who I am as a person, but I'm not.
Oh yeah,
committed
I'm
to this
breaking.
game.
I'm shattering that promise the first chance I get it.
Yeah, it's and just like the weird. Her father was really. He made me uneasy. And like those were the interesting parts. Like I don't know if any of you did any of you go up and knock on the window and try and talk to Alvin?
No.
No.
Jarrett? Okay, so my roommate did. And because like when I snuck out of the little shed, I like immediately knew go to the opposite side of the house. There will be some way I can crawl under it and climb up. Again, it felt predictable and safe in that regard, so I did that as someone who plays video games. And my roommate, he was really unsure of where he was supposed to go, so he listened into this conversation of the pregnant woman and Alvin talking, and like, of course, she was just continuing to be a bitch. And then he knocked on the window, and Alvin came out, and he's like, "You shouldn't be here." And she's like, "I'm hurt. I need help." And he used the puppy dog eyes to get him to help her.
Those Disney eyes.
Those Disney eyes. And
Disney eyes.
she, if you ask Alvin, he'll give you the bandages, but he'll also give you a juice box. And when you're
Really?
yeah, when you're like stitching up your wound, the juice box is there, and between things that you do, you can like hit the juice box like it's a glass of whiskey. And that may have been
That's
like the
funny.
single best part about this episode.
So how did you get into the house,
I
Alex?
fucked that up.
I crawled under the house. I went.
Yeah, me too. Like a
I
fucking
went around,
rat.
removed the board, and crawled under the house.
That's how I got into. I just wasn't. Is that how you got into, Jared? Is there any other way in?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the only way.
I don't know.
The doors are locked and so are the windows, so I imagine not. But yeah, it was that was something that was pretty interesting that could happen.
That's funny.
That's
That's actually really funny.
it made me wonder if like you could get somebody to get you the I don't know what the third thing you need was. Not the peroxide. Not the
You need like
bandages.
peroxide, the needle,
Bandages
and
and
Yeah,
bandages.
the
bandages.
Like it made me wonder if like maybe there's a third person you can talk to get you the needle, and I thought that was really interesting.
Instead of going to get it yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe he would also give you a juice box. It was like that part was fine. It was like again contrived in that like clearly they were setting this up because they thought this would be an interesting gameplay section. Now, did any of you
Yes.
try and spy on the meeting in the kitchen?
Yeah, I did.
No.
Can you hear what they say?
I
You
listened
know,
on it, but I didn't actually like try to go in and open the door.
it's one of those things where like you hold the door open and then the screen starts turning red, and only have so long before you have to close the door again, or they'll notice you.
Yeah.
I think they're just talking about what to do with you.
Okay.
Pretty sure. But yeah, it's nothing really that interesting. You can only listen for a couple seconds before you have to close the door again.
Yeah. So yeah, then you get everything. Then you patch up your wound. I thought that was fine. Like I thought that was appropriately gruesome. Like I didn't feel like it was too forced.
I thought it was a little too long, though.
It was a little too long.
Like,
The
I got it.
stitching took forever. But
After a while, I understand. It hurts. And she's a child doing this. I get it. That's fucked up.
Yeah, and she hit that juice box real hard.
Yeah.
Getting out of the shed was super contrived, too. Like, there's really only one way out, and it's such a stupid, convoluted way to do it. Like, I feel like you could have found any way except getting a hammer to claw out nails to pull that board off. Like, you're in a shed. There's plenty of shit you can use to pry a door off.
Yeah.
But it has to be that hammer. Because they need it to be that hammer.
Because they need it to be that hammer because you need that hammer. And
Yeah.
Right.
You're going
And
to
again,
that
plenty of
zombie
games
that
do
obviously
that.
comes in.
yeah,
Yeah, the one you couldn't get out of this game without being attacked by a zombie.
Yeah.
that's true.
In like the least convenient time, you could be attacked by a zombie.
Yeah.
I mean, like, speaking of which, like, what do you guys think of the action scenes just in general? Like, there's the river scene at the beginning where you're running away from Krista's attackers. Then there's the dog, and then there's there's a brief scene afterwards, and then the zombie in the shed, and that's pretty much it.
I only really
Well, you
liked
have the one
first
at the end with
Yeah.
we have to make the decision to go with who, which is the only one I think I liked. The very
Yeah.
last one at the river there.
Yeah.
I think I only liked the first one. The chase in the beginning, I mean, it felt like that was when I felt like the most isolated and like alone, was when I was just the kid running from crazy adults.
Yeah. I like that one.
Want to do
best as
crazy
well.
adult things.
Yeah.
Who wanna
Yeah.
do goddamn adult things. And they want to talk down to you.
The thing,
go
like,
ahead.
I can't get behind the first one though because it turns into like this Looney Tunes things of like jumping over and dodging under like zombies after a while.
Yeah.
And I feel like other this year have put you in a position to be a child running away from scary zombies better,
Yeah, it's true. Like
i.e. The Last of Us.
Yeah.
but like I liked it because it felt like I was using my childlike things to an advantage. Like
Yeah.
Like Home Alone style.
Crawling through
Like,
crawling
yeah, I
through a
was-
log.
Home Alone style, crawling through the log and
Dropping your Christmas ornaments and
Swinging an iron down the stairs.
pushing someone into an anchor and then having it rip through their chest. You know, Home
knock
Alone
them over,
style.
then drop a tarantula on the zombie's face and
Yeah.
scream.
It was very Home Alone. You know, now that you guys mention it, it's basically Home Alone 5, or whatever they're on. It was like it was good because like when the guy is like trying to strangle you or whatever, you don't force him off like you would as an adult. You force him into like a zombie's grab, and like that's how you would do it. Like you're not strong enough to do this. You have to think more strategically, and I think Clementine learned a lot of that from Lee, and I think it's reflected well in her character. And yeah, it was I liked it. But I guess getting back to like the shed stuff, that pretty much segues right into. I mean, we can talk about the kitchen scene where you're eating the oatmeal. I think we should.
That was my favorite scene in the entire episode, I think. I like just sitting down with Luke and having a nice little chat.
Have a nice little.
But I liked Luke. I mean,
Rapey
you guys think he's a rapist, but I think he's cool. So I
don't
my
hate
time
him.
hanging out with him.
I just don't necessarily disagree with the rapey vibes that he was giving off.
Yeah, like I don't hate him either, but fuck if I trust him or anyone at this goddamn. The only person I trust is
Especially
Alan.
not him. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, it's just weird and like it was a well done scene. I agree. That vibe just it haunted me.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on any of this. I don't know where I didn't pick up on any of it. When she asks about Lee, I thought that was rough for me. I'm a big fan of Lee Everett, and like Clementine tells if you choose to tell the story.
Yeah,
that was pretty well done. And that bitch comes
I like
in.
the way she tells the story.
Yeah.
She tells a story like a child would tell a story about like not her dad, but like some mythical creature. Like a superhero. Yeah. Like she doesn't talk to him about someone who was really, even though they had a very intimate like relationship, like a father-daughter thing. She talks about Lee like he was a guardian angel that came out of nowhere and really not only saved her life but changed her life.
Yeah,
and like you can be as like vague about it as possible if you want, but it
still comes.
It's up to you to really help like evangelize him.
Right. Yeah. Like when he said, "He's why I keep my hair short" and stuff like that. I'm like, that's superhero-y.
Yeah, and it was like when you're looking at her, and again, like the facial stuff, I think in this game is a lot better. When you're looking at her, you can tell she loved him, and she loved the time she spent with him. And you can just see that in her face and how her eyes move around while she's talking about it, and it's really subtle and good. It was like, you know, one of the few subtle things in this episode, and it was good. Yeah. But yeah, then the bitch comes in, and you can be like, you should be nice to me.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I'm a vindictive little girl.
I wish I said that.
I'm never going to become friends with her. I honestly will kill her the first chance I get.
Probably. I push.
Pregnant or not, I wouldn't think she's just so mean. And then that's another thing. She's the other stereotype, like I'm pregnant, but I don't know who the father is. Like they ripped that straight from the comics and the show. Like that's completely
like we need to keep going in every single form of this license that we can.
But so
and it's like you're in a house with like 3 dudes. How do you not know who the father is?
Yeah. Who do they even say? Who else? Because she married to Alvin, right?
Yeah, but they didn't mention who else it could be. If I had to take a guess, I'm gonna guess it's Luke.
No, I'm guessing it's the other
the other cousin dude.
Yeah, that's my guess.
I'm guessing it's like this mysterious figure that's apparently haunting them.
The guy that left.
Yeah,
and is now like being all tribal in the woods.
I assume. Yeah,
that's gonna be dumb.
That's I feel like that could be alright.
He's like a little warrior.
So speaking of which, what did you guys get all the 400 Days references?
I picked up on some. I mean, I saw the gas station is where Omi gets killed, right?
Yes. The Roman, who's from the crazy gas station guy that like is gonna kill Stephanie or whatever locked in the truck. You see him dead at the end in the pile of bodies. and on the
Definitely
river.
miss that.
So, like, that was
Definitely
something I
miss
saw immediately. And it was nice that, like, I played 400 Days with my roommate, and then he played this, like, back to back. And it was nice seeing those, like, juxtaposed to one another. And seeing, like, you know, the engine's gotten a little bit better, and I like how they do, like, the symbols on the controller and stuff more. But yeah, there were a few. There's one at the campfire at the beginning as well, and one in the camp at the camp in the middle with the dog. I believe could be the camp from the end of 400 Days. I'm not sure. But yeah, there was some good subtle stuff with that in there. My guess is that the the creepy guy, like the one that's in the truck in 400 Days. My guess is he's the guy that left.
You
You think so?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because you never learned
That's
his name,
possible.
and I have a feeling
Is it Chris?
that would actually. They say the person that left.
Creepy Chris.
Creepy Chris.
I don't know.
But you never hear it in 400 Days.
Right.
And, I think that would be pretty clever, actually. As if he like played out to be like this consistent villain throughout season 2, which is something that they said they
We're
had in
lacking.
season 1,
Didn't.
but didn't.
What a cop out that was. Oh, his car was in episode 2, so he is a consistent villain.
He's been watching you the whole
Yeah.
time.
Consistency confirmed.
There you go. But yeah, then I guess we'll talk about the closing scene. What did you guys think about this?
It was super predictable, I guess, but it's one of the few scenes I didn't really have too many problems with. Like, I knew it was going to happen because no decision in the Walking Dead series has happened without having to choose one of these people who have to die.
Mhm.
But I think the most interesting part about that is it doesn't guarantee that the person you left is dead. Before, it's like, that motherfucker is dead.
Yeah.
Obviously. You watch it happen. You watch him get drug away by zombies or whatever. But not so much the case anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest surprise.
Yeah. Like,
And
a
I
lot
was
of
happy with
people-
that surprise because it's a plot, like, it's an attempt at a real show that you don't have to just kill people to be like jarring and surprising anymore.
Yeah. And like how people are still expecting Kenny to show up at some point because you never see him die.
I think that in the the little thing at the end of it for the next season, she walks up and says, "I thought you were dead." It's Kenny. It has to be Kenny. All right.
I already know who it is because
What?
So it's got to be the girl. I guess she was a girl. I wasn't really sure from the beginning. The one that shoots Omid, was it a girl? Do we have a confirmation on this?
It was a girl. Yeah.
The girl that gets shot, the
Yeah.
girl who tries to rob
Yeah,
Clementine?
If
Yeah,
you
that was a chick.
If you flip through the pictures of the chapters, chapter 3 shows Clementine and that girl somewhere. So I know it's just going to be her. I'm
Damn it!
positive.
I want Kenny to be alive so bad.
Like it could be somebody else, but I don't think it will be. Like they want you to think it's Krista. Again, a thing that just feels cheap.
No, I don't care about her anymore. I want Kenny to be alive.
Yeah, Krista's dead.
She's
to
already
me.
been dead to me.
Krista can be dead. She's dead.
She's got to be. But yeah, it's excuse me. It's that the ending scene was interesting because like they don't give you a lot of time to think, but retrospectively, seeing like the wound on the guy's foot, it could have been like he scraped something or something. Like I would believe it if it had been that, and that he had gotten bitten at the end. Pete.
But they allude to him going Saul style on his fucking foot, and I'm super pumped about that.
Yeah. So did you guys save the nephew?
I didn't. I just chose the other guy.
Yeah, I did too.
I chose the old guy.
You chose the old guy? Does the other one die?
He runs away.
Oh!
What? Pete dies hard if you don't pick him.
Oh yeah, Pete hardcore gets like swarmed.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
He basically
Yeah, he just runs
limbs
into the woods.
flying. Ah, damn it.
That's the thing, though. I wouldn't have picked him if me and that guy didn't have a moment in the kitchen.
Where you were like,
Well, I picked him because I felt like we had to go help the whole dude. Like, he's old.
Maybe.
He needs help.
Now that I think about it, I'm super hypocritical because I was bit by a dog, and I was like, "You gotta believe me, I wasn't bit." And then I saw that one scratch, and I'm like, "Oh, he's a goner already."
oh, he's fucked. Out.
He's already
I'm
dead
an
to me.
asshole. I'm an asshole.
Yeah, we all are. Like, again, like retrospectively, if I could do it again, I would do it differently. But I like that. I like decisions like
Yeah,
that.
me too. Like the second I chose, I don't even fucking know his name. I chose that other guy, and I was like,
Pete
"Oh,
and
Pete." I should have
Jacob?
picked Pete.
I don't know, fucking some guy.
It's not. I would remember that.
Fucking dude guy.
It's true, fucking dude guy. Did you guys feed water to the dude in the middle of the? I know you
Fuck.
didn't, Jacob. You
Fuck
texted me
no.
like, "Fuck that guy."
Yeah, fuck him.
Fuck that dude. The same thing with the dog. When you can kill him, I was like, fuck you, dog. You can die in a couple minutes.
Yeah. I didn't, but my roommate again did, and he mouths "thank you" to you, and then it cuts to the action scene. So he doesn't die.
If you want water with your dying breath, don't try to rape me.
There you go,
Yeah, great.
Lucas.
Great advice. Hey, all right. If he turns out to be a rapist, I'll find a way to send you some guys some money because I do not think he will be raping or attempting to rape Clementine.
I don't know. Like, if this just turns into like Speak, like episode 2 goes into like a really dark place, and then Clementine's all moody for 3 and 4, and then episode 5 she finally gets through it. Then this will be the worst video game ever.
This is gonna get.
Yes.
Because at this point, Luke is my season 2's Kenny, and I don't want that to be broken after one episode.
He could be all right. Like, he could be totally fine. I'm open to that idea. It's just that's how I feel about him right now. I think that this episode was rough, like really rough, but I think it leaves it open for it to be really good in the future.
Yeah, I'm excited for the most likely the inevitable showdown between this cabin and whoever their little guy who left them and formed his own warrior tribe somewhere off in the woods. Yeah.
Heisenberg just shows up.
He who knocks.
Yeah.
What about you, Jarrett?
I'm afraid for this season because there's really no. At the end of this episode, like, really nothing changed for me about my, I guess, my place in this lore. Nothing really. After it's all said and done, everything that happened really didn't happen for any cohesive reason. I really don't know who these people are. I really don't know what they're talking about, and they really don't know who I am. So all I really did was walk through the woods, get in some trouble, and now I met some guys who are still in trouble.
It's all
by the end of this first season, the first episode of the first season, like, you pretty much knew what was happening, and you had a very clear goal. There is no real goal here. It's not even survival's not even a real goal anymore. Clementine's just with these people. And I don't really know what that means.
Like there's no plot destination, but like I think that there wasn't really at the end of episode 1 either. Like I thought it was left ambiguous enough. And like episode 1 of season 1 was rough too in a lot of ways. Like, I think it had better moments because it was the first time we experienced those moments. Like, the hammer moment with the babysitter, or seeing Clementine in the treehouse and stuff like that, and like being this adult caring for this kid that was kind of just thrust upon us. Like, I think that's what made episode 1 good. But other than that, it was rough. In that like. Doug, like, who the fuck?
It was
Doug?
way more point and clicky than it became. Like, it was way more like hunt for items and shit like that.
I don't know how to use batteries. Like,
yeah.
And like stuff like that was rough, and like it probably the puzzles in episode 1 went on for way too long. Like I put puzzles in quotes, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in season 2, it's it's rough, but I feel like there could be potential in the future. Like if they give me a chance to like fuck this group and like fuck them over completely, I think that would be awesome, and two, I would take that in a heartbeat.
I would take it just to drive a plot. I can be the plot point then.
Yes, and I think that would be interesting. I think they could do something like that. I think they're trying to make Clementine frustrated so that she is driven away from adults and people, and if it turns into like a fucking Lord of the Flies situation, I am okay with that. Like if it can do like a bunch of kids and then some fat kid gets murdered, then I'm okay with like seeing that through Clementine. That would be interesting. But I don't know. I trust Telltale, but this was definitely a rough start.
I want to trust Telltale. I just think I don't trust this license necessarily. Firstly, to really be the same sort of shocker it used to be, but I also don't trust their direction for the future. Like the fact that the Borderlands game and the Game of Thrones game are the two second and third most talked about Telltale games behind the season 2 is kind of disappointing considering their best game came out earlier this year. Like, The Wolf Among Us is their strongest game, in my opinion. It's their strongest first episode of the seasons of any game they made.
Yes.
And
I agree.
it has a lot of potential, and there's been no talk about it since that first episode came out. It was like the rumor was the second episode should have been out already, like end of November, and that's just disappeared.
Yeah. I don't know. Like The Wolf Among Us is a concerning thing, because that has its like that has its hooks in me way more than this. Just because like I was attached to Lee and Lee's gone and I've accepted that and I've moved on, but like The Wolf Among Us has created a new character in a new world that is way more interesting for me right now. But I guess we'll see. Like hopefully, what I imagine Telltale's plan is that Game of Thrones and Borderlands will populate their games in summer to fall of next year, and then Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead will populate their first 6 months. And I don't see them doing it any other way.
I hope so.
But still,
I hope they do like TV show kind of like 2 and 2 instead of just all coming out whenever they're done.
Right.
Yeah, or alternating on a monthly basis. Like January we get Wolf Among Us, and then February we get Walking Dead. That would that would be a smart business plan, I think, for them, because it would keep things interesting, and it would also be a way to use 2 teams really efficiently. And keep people talking about Telltale.
I guess I just feel the Wolf Among Us being such an obscure license compared to their other big ones allows them to be more, I guess, aggressive and more interesting as far as storytelling is concerned.
Yeah.
Like, if you play Tales from the Vault or from the Borderlands, it's pretty much going to appeal to Borderlands players.
Yeah.
Or anyone who was whoever liked the sort of motif. The Game of Thrones game will appeal to Game of Thrones readers and watchers. I haven't read a single page or seen a single minute of the Game of Thrones, and I know that is already probably not for me. But I feel like when you write these things based on these licenses, you can get really lazy because you let the license carry it. Like when DC Universe versus Mortal Kombat was made, and Midway got really lazy and making fighting games that way. I feel like this is happening. I feel like I'm watching it happen in season 2 of The Walking Dead, and I don't want it to happen to them because they're better than that.
Yeah. And we know they're better than that. 1, because Wolf Among Us is interesting and different, and 2, because season 1 took The Walking Dead, which, for me, the TV show is always just going to be okay, but it took that idea and that situation and made it really fantastic.
Right. It adopted the right things about the books and made them something you can watch and play.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's getting murky now.
Yeah, it's like it's getting bogged down in its own canon. Like it was so free in the first season, they could do what they wanted, and now they've just got to. Here's these characters. Don't forget about them. Here's 400 days. Don't forget about them. Otherwise, you won't get the full experience.
And like as I've
people
as
start
I've
talking. Go ahead.
Okay. As I've let 400 Days kind of sit with me over time, I didn't really like it when I first played it. I thought it was good. I thought it felt too much like an experiment. Like it felt like they were trying a lot of new things, but I think that was kind of the point. And retrospectively, I think that's okay because it let them take risks. And those 5 interesting like little stories in 400 Days have already proved to be more interesting than season 1 of or season 2 episode 1. So
want to see Wyatt again. So
yeah, Wyatt's great. There's room for improvement though. Like I'm not like gonna write it off quite yet, but I think we'll have an idea when we go into episode 2, or when we go out of episode 2. Anything else you guys want to mention or say?
Nope. I think we covered it.
Jarrett's a little frozen right now, but
Yeah.
I'll wait for
I'm
it
here.
to catch up. There we go.
I'm around. I don't think I have anything more to say. I just really hope number 2 is better than number 1.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of ways to improve, and I think hopefully far in production or in the can already that they can't make these improvements.
Yeah.
My fear that there's not enough people telling them to make the improvements. That the choppiness and some of the actual mechanics and the mechanical issues are being seen as minor when I don't think they should be. And I think if episode 2, 3, 4, and 5 are how I played, just with even minus my issue with the plot or minus my issue with the characters or the writing, if it plays the way I played the first season both times, I'd be really disappointed in this game.
Yeah. They need to step up the mechanical. Ugh, wow. They need to step up the mechanical game. Especially like this, I can almost definitely see this coming to next gen consoles, and if it's equally as janky on there, like you're gonna lose a lot of heart, and a lot of love, and that's a problem.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up. If you liked Walking Dead season 2 episode 1, let us know. You can contact each of us at I'm at AlFighter27. Jacob's at Jacob B. What are the numbers? I always forget.
41.
41. Okay. Jacob B 41 on Twitter, and Jarrett's at Jarrett John, all one word. Let us know what you thought. And don't forget to check out Jarrett's review on RationalPassions.com and listen to Rational Passions Podcast, Writer's Ramble, if it'll ever come back, and other assorted things.
No, it's coming back.
Bring it back.
Let's bring it back. We're doing it.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you probably when episode 2 comes out.